John McCaig here, John, Jack, uh, Jesus Christ Trust. And I said I'd keep going if I get donations. And so I got a donation this week. And so thank you very much for that donation, Jamie. I appreciate that. Now, I thought I'd do a Palm Sunday show and talk about Palm Sunday a little bit and our situation here. So God bless you in the name Jesus Christ, everyone. Palm Sunday. This is a story. This is a script, right? Scripture is a script. So what does the script say? It said Jesus rides into Jerusalem, into his city on a donkey, and they love him so much that they throw palms and other items to show how venerable Jesus is and how much they appreciate him coming to Jerusalem with the truth. So, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So, this is the guy that knows the truth, and they're like, yay, he made it. And then, later, like a week later, they kill him. So, it's an interesting story. People misunderstand what I say about God. I think sometimes and think I say that Jesus Christ isn't real when I'm saying Jesus Christ is real, but Israel, right? Israel, Israel. So I'm saying, yeah, that Jesus Christ is real, but is the story of Jesus Christ real? You know, like, hey, DDJ Baba. Is the story of Jesus Christ real? Like, did he live in a body? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Jesus Christ isn't real. I know Jesus Christ is real. I've met with him. So that's not in question to me. The question is, what's true of the script? You know, like Mir Baba said, this is an illusion. So what part of him saying it's illusion do people, cut off? Oh, this is illusion and that's not. So I think, where does it come where this is an illusion doesn't play into the situation? And I think that's what you have to look at, is the situation is history is an illusion. Just let's do a little bit of math, okay? Real estate prices, you could buy a house in America for a couple $1,000s in the 1950s. $2,000 you own a house in the 1950s. Okay. So, and same in the 1960s, right? 1960s, few $1,000s, you got a house, right? A few $1,000s, that's it. And so we're saying from 1960s, right? A few $1,000s, you get a house. And then you go back in history, the rest of history, uh, thousands of years. That's what we're told. History is thousands of years. Okay. So the price of real estate never really went up, ever, in thousands of years. The the price just never went up of any real estate ever, pretty much, right? That's what they're saying. It went up a little bit, but only in the last 50 years, right? 50 years, it was just going along kind of static for thousands of years. And in the last 50 years, whoop, went off the charts. The value of real estate just went super up. Now that same house you could have bought for $1,000, a few $1,000s in the 1960s. Now it's supposedly costing, whatever, at least $500,000, right? So nothing. for thousands of years, and 50 years, price of real estate goes through the roof. I mean, we're talking about scripture, right? We're talking about the script. We're talking about the past and its story, and what part of it is real. And I just can't see that any part of it is real. It doesn't make sense. I'm an accountant. Okay, look at the numbers or the situation, but how is it that uh, the price of everything is flat for thousands of years and then it goes through the roof? Help me out with that. I don't understand any of that. Like that's not possible. It's not like all right, Jay. How you doing, Jay? Good to have you. How is it possible that, finances change from everything's flat and static for thousands of years, nothing costs more, everything costs basically the same. They're making this their Western Israel. Very interesting. Um, very interesting. I'm not sure what that would be. We'd be at war with everyone. No, Israel's at war with all its neighbors. Uh, kind of crazy. So, just what part of the script is real? Stealing deeds. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're judged on our deeds. That's what we're judged on, our deeds. People take that to mean actions alone, but the word deeds has a double meaning. It means your actions and the paperwork that backs up ownership of real estate. And that's why I was like, let's look at the price of real estate. If you say the past is real, okay, well, how can anyone explain to me why real estate costs steadily the same amount of money, basically forever? For thousands of years, real estate costs exactly the same, pretty much. And then, okay, come the 1960s, up it goes. Only then. I don't understand. Like, what? You see, so it's very difficult to be telling the truth about, life and have it generally accepted by anyone, or let alone the masses. Has to do with the Catholic Mass. It goes very deep. The Catholic Mass had an impact on real estate prices. I don't know about that. Catholic Mass hasn't changed really. They said it in Latin, supposedly, and then they say it in English, or the language that of the area of the slave plantation that you live in. You know, can you explain why the tax district controls the sale of a home for a person, right? Um, well, that's right. I mean, none of this makes any sense. Is the point you're getting at, GD? Like this whole Ponzi scheme of a money situation we have. How long can it last? You see what I'm saying? Like it only goes for so long, and then the numbers start to get out of whack. Like $33 trillion USA owes now, 34 maybe, and up it goes. Like, how is that even possible? How is any of the script possible? I don't see how any of it's possible, and it makes me wonder that there's no one out really questioning the whole story that we have to our past and our present. I mean, obviously, it's just a joke. The script is a joke. It's an illusion. So let's look at Palm Sunday. Oh, this guy shows up that knows the truth, and we're very happy to see you. You know, I personally, I have the truth, and I've been giving out the truth, and everyone's like, I never heard that before. And I'm like, well, you should look it up. The In God We Trust, Rainbow, on and on with the truth, that I've given out over the years. And I would say that the only thing that has happened from me handing out the truth is I have a few individuals, look at them in here, look at the amount of people in here, uh, a couple individuals that are interested in the truth. And then the rest of the human population is simply not interested in the truth. And they're interested in the truth only a little bit and not all the way. Uh, George Orwell, those who control the present control the past, and those who control the past control the future. It is a huge clip. It is. But let's just look at Palm Sunday. Here comes the guy with the truth, and they're like, "Oh, yay, we're so happy to see you." And then a week later, they murder him. I mean, I just don't see the part on my end where anyone face to face is happy to be hearing about the truth. I don't meet people face to face. My recent pilgrimage journey to India, after scouring the internet for more than a decade, a few people showed up, six in India, that were interested in the truth. And I don't think any of them are here right now in this live feed. Uh, so, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It's been 2 weeks since I got back from pilgrimage, exactly 2 weeks. And, it's a lot to take in that basically the human population that exists uh, has no interest in the truth and really disavows the truth and disavows anyone who's interested in the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have an interest in the truth, basically everyone, the rest of the human population, is going to actively hate your guts and not want you around. All right, Jamie, thought you made it. And thanks for your support this week, Jamie. That's the reason I'm coming back on. Because if people are donating and want to hear about the truth, I'll tell the truth. But honestly, after being in India for 2 months and, you know, telling people the truth, uh, it's come to my attention really that people are not interested in the truth. I'm glad you're here, GD and Jamie and Jay. On Jay, on your journey, I met Vinny. He said he was at a party and said man did not go to the moon, and someone cold cocked him from behind so hard he lost a tooth. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for that. That was could be more appropriate. My God, that's exactly what Palm Sunday is about to me. It's like, uh, I would see the human population. If you speak the truth, nobody's going to lay palms in front of you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to want to smash your face in and want you dead, and tell you to leave wherever you are. Get out of here. You know that's 100% what I have experienced with the human population. He told me this I won't want. Yeah, dude, this is the way our situation is, actually. I mean, I couldn't think of a more appropriate story to tell than what you just typed out there, Jay. Jamie, can I ask you about how this trust affects kids by protecting them, say from not being in school at all, the truancy laws? Yeah, I mean, I have that in uh, one of the courses in the mentor program. That's you're going to get them a conscientious objector form, which I have in the courses on Liberty Aid Academy. And then they have a piece of paper, you know, here's your piece of paper for your records. And they have a piece of paper for their records that says why this child is not following the rules. It's an exception, an exemption. Yeah. uh, so it's just the child is not under the in God we trust. It's they're you know they maybe have a birth certificate and stuff like that, but now you have a countervailing document, right? You sign as a mother, and then they are um, beneficiary of your trust, and so they're under that trust, and so they're under Jesus Christ. That's the way it works, Jamie. You use that paperwork, see this, and then you have an extra piece of paper that's conscientious objector form. That we're choosing not to go to school because it's a religious reason why we're not going to school, because we're Christian. That's it. And, that's it. That's all it is. You have that option. Even in their trust, even in the in God we trust, they allow for a spiritual choice, a religious choice. You can make a choice and you can follow your own God, your own religion. That applies even under their trust. You see? Dee Jack showed a video of a hot air balloon dressed up as a fake rocket. Now all the helium is scarce in the USA. Satellites or mirrors are carried with hot air balloons in the sky, not space. Yeah. There's no space, and people have a hard time with that. It's like humans, we're going to go conquer the stars, and we're going to go to all these places and everything. We went to the moon, but then we totally forgot how we got there, and now we can't go there. It's like, wait, that was the 1960s. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? It's pretty funny that they have, no, that's the story, and we're sticking with it. Doesn't make any sense. DD, a lot of the rocket footage is balloons. Yeah. No, that's why they go slow at first, right? Like, that's what kind of like a jet airplane is, right? It's pressurized. In other words, it has pressure inside a metal tube. And so that's a balloon too. It's just a pressurized balloon. It's just not made of rubber. It's made of like glass and aluminum. And it has pressure in it. And so that pressure makes it lighter. And so those jet engines have an easier time of keeping it up in the air. It's really an amazing invention that God made, jets and so on. All these inventions are God made all the miraculous inventions here, not humans. Like, we could maybe refine certain things and make them better, maybe, but most things we seem to get worse as time goes on. Like, okay, all the beautiful buildings are old, and all the new buildings are really just boxes made of glass and metal and concrete and are totally ugly. That's what people build. I mean, you just look at what people can do, and you see the great disparity between, everything that's here, it doesn't match up what people make. So, like, everyone's like, oh, you know, flat earth and reset and all this stuff. Like, oh, who used to live here? It's like, no one used to live here. The history didn't happen. Yeah, new homes are, they're not going to last long, nor do they have to, right? If you look at the past, you're like, well, if the past is fake, when did it start? When did we get here? When does it end? Toothpicks and poster board. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, they're made of drywall, which is like a sponge. So if there's anything getting wet, that stuff's like earth and it'll grow mold. So if it gets wet, the inside of your house ever, it's going to grow mold and it really can't be in there. So that's what you're building with, is like the stuff that really makes mold if it ever gets wet. Okay. And then it's uninhabitable, the whole place. It really makes pretty much no sense what they're building unless you see what the actual truth is and the script is and what's real. Because every religion, is based on a character that is a very important concept of a character and the way to live and so on and the way to be with God. But did those characters actually live? You know, like I just see no evidence of it. If you look at their life story, it's like, well, I've been out here kind of, sharing and spreading and coming up with the truth for more than 10 years now. Has anyone written one single word about me? Like, not so much, There's no books about me or anything like that. No, yeah, Palm Sunday celebrates a triumph, but where's the triumph? Exactly, like the triumphal entrance of Jesus into Jerusalem. What triumphant about what? Why are they so happy to see him? It doesn't make any sense, you see? It doesn't I don't, I don't see anything that matches our uh situation in any way, shape, or form. Jay, a man I know who works for a builder says it's meant to last for 10 years. And that's what I see. Like, that's all the time we got left. If someone else is saying there's a different time, what is it? Based on what? Um, just the fundamentals of our reality. People don't want to hear about the rainbow. They don't want to hear we're in a dome. They don't want to hear these things that this is the only location. You know, like I don't know why people are so opposed to that information that this is the only place. There's just this dome and we're inside it. So, doesn't that mean that, each individual is special, that this is happening for a particular reason, that this is, run, organized, maintained, propped up, and done in all this detail for a specific reason, you know? Well, what is that reason? Why is this happening? How could any of this art from the past be created by people? Cathedrals, these old paintings, old sculpture, old old buildings of any kind can't be replicated. They just can't be. Or if you want to try and replicate them, it takes so much time and energy. It's really basically almost an impossibility. Um, it takes such a gargantuan amount of effort and man hours and so on. Like if you look at the rebuilding of anything that's ancient, it just takes forever. It doesn't. It just people couldn't have built these things. You see? Yeah. Uh, Bishop Williamson, the only tribute that has the same resonance. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they, like in a church, they have those rose windows. I think this is what you're getting at, Jay. Like the stained glass windows, like, the big giant stained glass window in every cathedral or church or something like that. If you were to record the ambient sound inside that structure and then replay it through a resonant speaker, like with sand and stuff that's there. The giant window, stained glass window, the rose window, right, would match the sand as is on the speaker. Those two would match. In other words, the resonant sound in a cathedral, in an old church, and so on matches the stained glass window, the shape. Now, I'm just saying, how in the world could they have figured out how to do that? You see, it doesn't make sense that they could do that. Only God could figure out and do that. This matches. And And this whole thing is sitting here, all this information is sitting here just to show us that God is real, you see, and that these scripts made up, there's one God with many names. You know, Jesus prayed to God in that story, in the script, right in the scripture. Jesus prays to his Father, God. That's what he does. He talks about reality and how the world thinks spirituality is silliness. Yeah. I mean, there's really what's actually happening here, you see? Like if a cathedral is giant rose window matches the ambient sound in there, and these things are supposed to have been made hundreds or thousands of years ago, how is that possible? And in the script, electricity is supposed to have happened recently, and sound systems and so on. How's it going to be possible to build that? How's that even a remote possibility? I don't see our reality. It never matches the script. Never. It's a hidden field science. That's right. Uh, it just nothing matches. You see, like their script, nothing matches. Because I went through India, and I went a lot of different places, and if I'm standing there sitting and talking with someone, I'll be like, "Hey, are you Hindu?" "Oh, yes, I'm Hindu." "Oh, so you worship Krishna?" "Yes, I worship Krishna." I say, "Do you know what the word means, Krishna?" And they're like, "Oh, he's this guy, blah blah blah." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. It's a title. Do you know what it means? Like Krishna, Christ? It's a title. He was Jesus of Nazareth, right? And then he got a title. Do you know what it means? Would you like to know what it means?" And if I ask him, "Would you like to know what it means?" And this is somebody that, supposedly is Hindu, worships Krishna, and so on, uh, they reluctantly maybe say yes, or they basically say, "No, I don't want to know." And if I tell them, you know, "Hey," I just tell them, "Oh, Krishna, this is what Krishna means. If you're in an outdoor shower, right? You're in an outdoor shower, you see a rainbow. If you're in an indoor shower, you got a light, you got the drops of water, right, from the shower, but you don't see a rainbow." I'm like, "Do you agree with that?" They're like, "Yes, I agree. That's my experience." Okay. So what's different in the outdoor shower, right? Because there's only one way to create a rainbow. When light passes through a crystal, makes a rainbow. So that says we're inside a crystal dome, invisible. You see, look up, see the sky, invisible crystal dome. What's above it? Blue during the day, black at night. That's God, that's the ocean. That's it. So Krishna, crystal. Christ, crystal. The ruler of the crystal sphere. That's it. That's what it means. That's what Krishna means. And so I'm like, "Do you know this?" "No." "Okay. Do you have a reaction to that?" "No." They're like, "Thank you, or good to know." I was like, so I say to them, I say, "So if Krishna, right, you worship Krishna, you're Hindu, you worship Krishna. If Krishna were to walk in a room right now, do you know what you would do? Do you know what you should do?" And they're like, "Oh, I would bow at his feet." "Okay, that's what you do in your culture, right?" "Yeah, that's what I would do." "Because what? You want to have no more lifetimes, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." So didn't I just demonstrate to you that I know what Krishna means, what Christ means, and no one else in this whole place has ever been able to tell you that? No one else. So who am I? Am I not the guy that knows that information? So no one else knows it. So who does that make me? You see? And they'd be like, "What?" You see, so They're just into part of the script. They don't actually want someone showing up that knows the truth. That's not and anyone's it's the whole script of everything for every religion that someone knows the truth and the truth will set you free. That's in every religion. But if someone actually shows up that knows the truth and can just say it in plain English, it's like what Jay said. They want to punch you in the mouth and knock your tooth out and knock you out. You see what I'm saying? That's what humans think about the truth. That you wouldn't walk into some city or town and everybody's like, "Oh, the truth, the guy that knows the truth," and they lay a bunch of palm fronds down. That's impossible. I think I've demonstrated that. You see? Do people want the truth? No, they don't. A very, very incredibly few individuals that are, so far distance apart from one another. Very, very, very few individuals want to know the truth. That's true. But like a human population living near each other that generally is interested in the truth, that would be like, oh, hey, the guy with the truth is here. And they're going to lay down some palm fronds because he's here and he knows the truth. See all those stories about some savior showing up and he's going to help and the truth sets you free, and everybody wants to hear the truth. That's an impossibility. You see, that's impossible. You get your tooth knocked out, you get hated, you get, reviled. That's why Mayor Baba said, hey, I come again and again, and I'm the reviled one. The only thing that I get, like I got kicked out of the Mayor Baba Center again in India. It was funny. We went there and we're getting taken by a driver to go there, and a couple of drivers, and they were going, and it's like, oh, this one guy's staying in a separate hotel, so they call ahead to the Indian people that work at the Mayor Baba Center, and like, oh, we have an extra place. Tell that guy he can stay here. Me, tell him he can stay here. I was like, I'm not going to be able to stay there. Don't say that. Don't. I didn't ask you to say that. I didn't ask you to call ahead. I didn't ask you to do any of those things. But they're generally, the Indian people are super nice, super warm, super loving, super giving, super caring. Guest is God. They totally take that to heart. They live their life like that. All the people from India that are not the white people, right? Who are running the Baba Center is a bunch of white people. Um, you know, like those local India people, like doing the cleaning of the floors and the making of the food and the drivers who drive people around and all that stuff. They're just like, oh, this guy's obviously with God. You could stay here. And, the drivers like called ahead and set it all up, didn't say anything, and get there like, oh, you could stay here. I was like, no, you're mistaken. I can't stay here. Like, and so they're like, no, you got to go inside. And I was like, so, I was like, all right, let's do it. And I don't think people understand my suffering. I just don't think they can understand the suffering that I go through. They have no ability to understand it because they never lived it. And so after having been kicked out, well and hard, well and permanently from staying at the, Baba Center, which I already know their place set up to stay. I wasn't even planning to stay there. It's just, Mayor Baba's tomb is like on their property. So uh, I recommended that the other pilgrims stay there and have easy access to Mayor Baba's tomb and stay there and get an understanding of the situation. But I wasn't going to stay there. They were getting dropped off, and then I was getting dropped off at where I was staying. But this call had gone in ahead. Oh, let's, make sure he could stay there, set it up that way. So I was like, dude, they're not going to let me stay here. You shouldn't have done this. And so like, no, no, go ahead. It's all set. It's all situated. It's all this. And I was like, no, it's not. You just think it is, but it's not. That's not the way it is. So I go in there, and there's a nice young Indian woman I've never seen before. And she's like, just fill out the paperwork. Here you go. You could stay. And a few minutes go by, and then someone else comes in who I recognize, and she's like, "Stop the paperwork! Stop the paperwork! He's not staying here." Doesn't say it to me, says it to her, and they don't. They basically end up telling my driver, who tells me, "Oh, you can't stay." I was like, "I told you I couldn't stay." So this takes an extra 45 minutes, something like that, after, nearly a 7-hour car trip. I could have been back at my hotel by now, wouldn't have had to deal with all these situations, the problems, and all the people standing around gawking at, like, why are they kicking this guy out? They never even would say it directly to me. They would say, have a talk with themselves, and, uh, then tell my driver and so on. It's like it's petty. It's a bunch of children. Point being that I haven't done anything mean to anybody or anything like that. I just speak the truth. I just tell the truth. Like in the uh, in the actual porch of the Baba Center, the Pilgrim Center, and when you're standing there, and then built into the roof is this inscription, and it's like the Parvartigar prayer, and in the prayer, right on the porch here, it says, "I'm in the firmament and beyond." I mean, that's what Mir Baba's flag is about, the rainbow. I explained the whole thing. Hey, guess what? It's a rainbow, and the blue's at the top of the flag because that's the ocean, right? God is the ocean above the rainbow. And what a perfect, sublime flag that only I decoded and no one else alive has ever decoded. So it's right on your porch right here where I'm standing under it. Hey, you're kicking me out of here for simply telling the truth and explaining what, Mayor Baba's flag means. That's why you hate my guts, because I'm able to explain it in plain English. And so that's why I'm kicked out of there. And so was everyone else that went on this pilgrimage. They got kicked out of there too, because they were with me. They accept the truth, and they got ejected too. And as they were being ejected, they were being told, "This is a great blessing for you that you're being, made so you can never come back here again," which it actually is, because a lot of these people are not, homeless or anything like that. Only one of them is living in a vehicle and doesn't have a proper physical residence. And so this is the first time that most of these people are going to be homeless. Like they just ejected them on the spot a few days later. They're like, "You're gone. You have to leave." And so that was a blessing, because unless you become homeless to this world at some point, you're going to have to reincarnate. So it is a great blessing to be made homeless in India in the middle of the day. Here, you got to leave. That's it. And so it was a blessing. It is a blessing to not be allowed to come back here. It is. It's just not taken as a blessing. It's like you're being ostracized. You're being reviled. You're being treated like me. Um, and honestly, I guess I'm just saying that I kind of getting tired of it. Um, bringing the truth and being killed and being resurrected, and all that. I'm just tired of doing it. Like I'm tired of speaking the truth to people, because it really doesn't have a point. It's pointless to the human population. Like I don't see a point. I don't see a reason to do it. Uh, I just don't. I've been to India. I've spoken to lots of people over there. It's supposedly a very spiritual place and all like that. And whether you're from India, whether you're from elsewhere and you're in India, I don't care who you are. You don't want to hear the truth, and you're not going to hear the truth from some, white guy, me, and you're not going to change anything in your life. It's not going to happen. Like it's never going to happen. Uh, So I just see the kind of the human population as doomed, domed. They're going to be in the dome forever, basically. No one wants the truth. So few people want the truth. It's really, and even you want the truth up to a limit and then stop, Like it's very difficult to hear, yeah, God is real, but the script is, how can that be true? Have you looked at the script? Have you looked into any of it? Why do you think they call it a script? Scripture. It's just made up. It's this made up story to control us and what our potential is, where I think our potential is a lot more than what we've been told. And so I've started to, over these many years, made it so you could get out of death, get out of taxes, and on with the miracles. But how many people in the human population, how many people have I affected and made a change to? I mean, so few, a few. But then the financial area, yeah, I could get some over there, but the actual spiritual information and so on, I mean, going to India for 2 months has really let me know that, people wanting the actual truth and wanna change their life accordingly and so on. Like, literally no one that went on that pilgrimage is in here. You see what I'm saying? The truth is incredibly hard to take. Your ego is not prepared for it. It's like what Mayor Baba said. Oh, the only reason to live is for Christ consciousness, for God realization of, we're separate from God, and then that separation goes away, and then we're reunited with God. That's the only reason for life. But do people, and then he goes on to say, but you don't want it. You don't want it. And that's what I agree with. People don't want that. So few. I mean, how many people are in here? 5 people are in here. So few people want that information. So that just means so few people are meant to go to God ultimately. Yes, some really good people in LA helping, yeah, but I notice they do not come over here. It's kind of sad. Yeah. And so I'm forced to accept the situation, Jay. The situation is people really aren't interested in the truth. And for me, it's really difficult to split my consciousness or my focus and so on and keep this information up and going about the truth and so on. Like, people just aren't interested in it. Let's just be frank. No one's interested in the truth. Spirit part of what you're doing is why I'm doing it. It's everything. See, that's what I say too, Jamie. Like, if there's no underlying point to life, why continue on with life? Like, if everything is this whole random, nonsensical, has no meaning thing, life, it just happened. I'm a coincidence series, right? Everything happens by coincidence. Then there's no actual meaning to life, that what there's no God or some you know, all powerful being doing this. Like, in other words, there's no right or wrong necessarily, or there's no right or wrong. There's no enforcement of right or wrong. That's not happening, and that's what people prefer to believe. I just, and they're not willing to look at each religion and see its weaknesses and see, okay, it's not possible that this is real and that it could actually have happened and be built this way, that these books like the Quran and uh, the Bible and so on, and these other important underlying spiritual books like the Bhagavad Gita and the I Ching, like, there's no way that people could have written those things, published those things, and continue to get these things out there, that they're real. Like, because like the work I've written about and so on, it's not published anywhere. I can't even take the time and effort and money and so on to get my book even properly published on Amazon and stuff. I can barely make ends meet from what I'm doing to be able to do that. Being under the right God and have the right deeds. Yes, that's true. That is all we're doing. The cross, right? The cross is like a scale, you see? And then picture two lines coming down from the end of the cross. It's a scale, like we're being weighed. You see the saying, our deeds are being weighed. And until they work out even, we have to keep living. How much does it cost to get your book on Amazon? It's not about money. It's about the technical prowess to do it. It's never just about money with my work. Sadly, it's about the ability to get it done. Where's the login? You know what I'm saying? How we get it up? I only have so much technical help and so much time myself. And that's the point here, Jay. Like, I just don't know how much longer I could put time and effort into the spiritual component of this. The people that I bring to the truth ultimately have such a difficult time processing it. They can't even show up anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like the people I brought on a pilgrimage, after it's 2 weeks after coming back, and they're still deep into try processing what happened to them. They're not even on here. You know, it's just everything is this technical difficulty with me that I'm trying to figure out, but it's really takes a lot of my effort to do, time wise and so on. Uh, so much of it is that. And just keeping Liberty Aid Academy up and those students happy and so on. It's a lot on its own. It really is. It's very difficult. It's not easy. And then to have this side issue that I'm dealing with over here, the spiritual stuff that I just felt I wanted to get this body of work out, and people know it. Uh, yeah, well, I'm just thinking of folding this information into Liberty Aid Academy and putting up the courses I had here over there. You know what I'm saying? It's just a small amount of people who are interested in like God and the spiritual truth. I just can handle it over on Liberty Aid Academy. Hey, you're cool, Alan. Good to have you here, man. Alan spent the most time with me in India, and so has the most to process. Me too. After getting back, I realized, not only was I on another time zone, but I was doing the shows at the same time I was doing them over here. You know what I'm saying? And so I was having to stay up late and get up early and do all this stuff. My schedule by the time I got back was on that schedule. It has been so difficult for me to come back over here, you know, uh, and be on this time zone and actually moved. When I got here, I was in the process a couple days into moving my home into here. It's been a very difficult couple weeks on me. Uh, Pamela, we're here, John. Oh, Pam, Paula, great. You're listening. Good. I'm glad to hear that. We went over there to have an experience with God, a pilgrimage, and I think that happened for everyone that went in their own way. That they can see the truth and how it plays out, and it's not what anyone expected exactly. It's just a lot more than what people expect. Okay, yeah, it sucks. But spoon feed is separate groups, so I'm building a foundation group in another location. Okay. I spoon feed another group. Yeah. I mean, it's just very difficult for me to have my focus over on this and on Liberty Aid Academy. So I'm thinking of just kind of like folding the information as far as the courses and stuff from Jesus Christ Trust into Liberty Aid Academy. And just once in a while, answering questions on spirituality and so on, because very few people have them, unless donations continue, in which case I'll be like, oh, okay, people really interested in God, and I'll keep this up, and it matters. So that's kind of what I'm figuring out what to do at this point, and giving myself enough time to like, you know, process my own time in India and reorder my days according to the time I have to give these shows and everything like that, and giving that the proper transition to do that. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm generally thinking of doing, unless there's an interest like there was this week. I got a donation, so I'm open here. Uh, but I mean, we must examine the script and look at it and say, okay, it's Palm Sunday. Did this guy Jesus actually come into Jerusalem? And did the whole population come out and be like, oh my God, it's Jesus. Here's palms and everything. Is so happy to have you here. And then murder him a week later. I mean, yeah, I can see how they would murder him a week later. Yeah, I can see how that is true about speaking the truth, but I just can't see how the opener is true, where people are like, "Oh my God, that's the truth. What? I'm so happy to know that." I don't ever see that. You know what I see an individual come to the truth and they're like, "Oh my God," and have an individual journey going through this information and be like, "Oh, I'm so happy I have the truth." I've been looking for it for so many years. Yes, I see individuals have that journey. The individuals that are in here, yes, I see that journey. I've had it myself, but that there's this, significant segment of any population anywhere that's interested in the truth. No, I don't see that. I don't see that played out in reality anywhere at any time. Never. I never see that. And I think I can safely say we're never going to see that. We're never going to see that. So, and that's what makes these stories, these scripts, these scriptures impossible. They're just absolutely impossible. So that's what kind of on Palm Sunday what I wanted to take a look at. Is there God? Yes, God. God exists everywhere around you. It's like, how could a tree be here? How could those clouds be there? How come we're in a crystal dome and the dome doesn't just break? Like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. How come the egg doesn't break? How come the water stays separate from the sand at the beach? Where do the waves come from? How does the air get clean in a dome? Like everything is a miracle and pointing you to God. That's the ultimate point. Because once you start talking about the truth, and then you want to talk about all the systems involved in it, you realize actually not one of them is fully explainable. You see, like how does the air get cleaned? Now there aren't enough trees to clean all the air and stuff. That don't make any sense, you know. And how does the water get clean? How does it? We get it all dirty, and then it gets clean again. Like none of this story makes any sense except for obviously there's some, miraculous power, God, making everything happen. That's becomes more obvious every day. But the actual script, I don't see it. Jay, on another topic, I never got my stimulus, so I just made out my tax return for 2020 and put it in the mail tomorrow. Good. I hope you can get some money out of it. A magnetic field science. See if you get the magnet to give you the money. Well, I hope it works out for you, Jay. Um, But everyone focused on God and focused on the truth. It's a very difficult journey, isn't it? That's why Mayor Bob will say, "Yo, it is what only reason for life is God realization, but you don't want it." It's very difficult. It separates you from the rest of the herd and the rest of their knowledge and the rest of our situation here. It is very difficult, and I really recommend the people that go to a pilgrimage take your time to, you know. Recalibrate as you process what happened to you. You have to come back to life with a new understanding of reality and so on. There is a spiritual hierarchy. And so we're each able to get out of here one at a time. Obviously, I'm the one that, oh, I have all the information because I made it, as far as you can make it. But each individual, everyone else has to make it too, the same journey. That's the message that we all have to do this individually. Individually, it doesn't happen as a group. There are two living saints in the world today. Yeah. Well, the point is, there's really, however many, George, hey, it is hard to be separate but still interact with this world. It's really hard, George. It's really hard. I think that's the thing that happens to everyone that went on the pilgrimage and so on. You're like, you have this information and this knowledge. Now you got to be in the world, but not of it. You got to day to day be here and see, how can I connect with this place, with this situation, and help my loved ones and the just the regular people I see every day. How do you interact with them and how do you help them? Says, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. How do you get them the truth so that that can help separate them from their desire to be here? Oh, I lost my desire to be here, I just want to be with God. Once you see God in everything, you're like, wait, obviously there's a God, so you got to pay attention to what God is doing and saying and all that, and do what God wants. That's our only reason, right, to be here. I break it down to conventional and unconventional. I go back and forth when needed, right? Conventional and non-conventional, right? I mean, it's funny. What the convention is the word, isn't it? Convention is the pact you sign. So conventional to them means, oh, the convention is they sign their soul with the devil, so believe everything the devil says. Unconventional is actually where your convention is with Jesus Christ, right? And the truth sets you free. That's where you're like, I got to know the truth and I got to act on the truth. And that's what sets you free. And your actions are so much fewer, aren't they? They're like, I don't really want to do that or that or that or that, anymore. So many of the things you wanted to do are just disappear in a wisp of smoke. And then you're forced to think about what would actually be good service to people? How can I actually help people? How can I help my loved ones? How can I help myself? What do I do in this situation? It's absolutely not easy. It's not. The truth sets you free from having to do what the script says you must do. But then what should you do? It's very difficult. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. Uh, and that's what puts so many people off of the truth. They're like, "Well, that's not what I wanted to hear," And so they like, "What do I do?" So it's very difficult in that way. And so for the people that took a pilgrimage, I know, this being my fourth pilgrimage I've taken over there, that is a very difficult journey to do that and then reorient your life as to the truth. Tough to know what to do. It is, Jamie, it is. So you just do what you can do. You're with God. I'll go with the two commandments, love God first and love my brothers and sisters. What does that mean? That's what you're constantly wrestling with. And I say it's not easy and it's a one-on-one journey and I'm here to help, but actions are individual based as far as karma. You have to do what you think is best based on the information you have. And you're like, well, God, if you sent me the wrong thought as to what to do, isn't that your fault, God? Aren't you running everything? Didn't I sign my convention, my pact with you? So aren't you supposed to be sending me the right information? Or isn't my free will gone on purpose? Isn't it now I work for you? So isn't this on God? Isn't everything on God? Is it God to blame for everything? Now come on. We have to do our best, but place logically, place, the blame at God's feet. That's what we're here to do. See that God's read at everything and say, hey, help me do my best. It's not this easy, figured out formula. It's not. Uh, it's very difficult when the scripts go away. What do you mean Jesus didn't live and they didn't throw palms in front of him and all this stuff? It's very difficult. Am I saying Jesus Christ isn't real? No, I'm saying Jesus Christ is real. God is real. Buddha is real. All these other characters are actually real and made up by God, but did they live in a body? No, I don't see the evidence of that. You have to give everything to God, Jamie, Ellen. I agree. I agree. Give everything to God, including your thoughts and so on. You give your actions to God. I'm doing my best. I'm doing this for you, God. I, I couldn't say it better. That's really true, Ellen. Jack and everyone, happy Palm Sunday. Easter is my favorite holy day. Dee Dee, excellent question about the district. I feel the triumph is in the heart. The second line. Good. right? No, that's true. It is in the heart. It is in the heart, right? Because of the thoughts are sent. So what are we going to do is based on what your heart says. I could agree more. TG, thank you for that. Very true. And thank you for the support. That's why I was here again this week from the donations, and I'll be here as long as people keep donating. Otherwise, I'll be just folding everything into Liberty Aid Academy and working on that. But I'll keep this going as long as I get donations, as long as this information has meaning and so on to people. I'll be here. So thank you one and all to the pilgrims that come on pilgrimage. You got to take a proper time to really transition and reorient yourself, to the truth and to your life now that you're back. Okay. And all these other people here that are kind of like constantly on pilgrimage with God and we're unable to go, I know you're with God too. So this information ever relevance to you too. You have to do your best every day and understand that the human population is going to be in a different direction, which is going to make our work uh, not easy. That's just part of the way it is. All right, everyone. Listen, to you few that are seeking the truth and seeking God, you're rare. And I'm here to support you and your journey to God. And I'm doing my best at doing that. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your donations. If it continues, I'll be here next week too. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week. Uh, May God watch over you all the time as your journey unfolds to the truth and to God in the name of Jesus Christ. God bless you one and all. I'll see you next Sunday.